Hi, today what I want to do is go ahead and make a Flint Striker. I actually have the furnace started, which I try not to do. But so I was given this from a blacksmith. This is from a file. You can see how it's bent. And Flint Striker, obviously you hold this and you strike it against some flint. Here in the US it's chert, it's really not flint. So I took a file. Actually, this is from a leaf spring. Also a pair of brass knuckles, a little too heavy to carry. This is again from a leaf spring, very hardened steel. But it doesn't protect my hand enough. When you're actually striking against the flint or chert, it's very sharp. So I want to try to make something a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do is there's a piece of file inside here. Grab the file out. Piece of file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do what I did to this knife. I'm going to just keep hitting it and drawing it out this way. And we're going to try to, once we get that done, we'll wrap the handle. And we'll be able to form the actual Flint Striker into something like this. So what the goal is going to be is maybe something down to here, but half the width of it. So here you're able to see on the right side, and then we're going to hammer it that way. Try to do it on both sides. I always try to straighten it up before I'm done. So again, this is going to be what I'm trying to do right now is duplicate this. So this end needs to come down. This needs to be extruded back up, and then this is going to be the actual surface. I'll be able to straighten all that out once I'm done. So every time I heat and hit this, it's actually making it longer. It's, again, tough to do with this camera, but the end there is flattened on, and I don't know if I can do this right. Nope, not going to be able to. So every time you hit it with this straight peen hammer, if this is the metal, every time you hit this, it's actually making it longer. And that's what the goal is. If you look at this forge, the only problem with this forge is it can only heat in the center here. That's where the flame is blowing. So, maybe from here to here, so I have to actually make the workpiece longer in order to get it even. Yeah, we got a nice one there. So that's about the right width that I want. And we'll just start really working that down. You can see how long this is compared to what it was before. Hits to straighten it. Put it back in. So there's more than one way to hit. I can hit this way, or I can hit once, twice. I can hit flat. That does the same thing. We want to try to get an even spread on the metal. This is a little easier to work with, I think, when you're doing it that way. Get the slag off of here. That back end, or whatever you want to call that, that's kind of forming in pretty nicely. All right, now we're going to start flattening the front, working this side. Trying to chew everything up. The less grinding I have to do, the better. And this is going to be the back. We'll maybe flatten that just a little bit more. Alright, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and use a pair of needle nose and start making this wrap. found that to be the easiest way to do it. I want to try to bend it like so, as quick as I can. I don't want to run out of heat on this because it won't fit back in my forge. So that's basically it. Now tighten that up. Line. That's pretty much what I wanted to do. That looks like the picture. I'm going to get my hand inside there. I'm going to quench it and see if I can get my hand in there. If it fits, then I'm going to heat it up again and I'm going to dip it in water and be done with it. Alright, so it fits in my hand. I really want it here. Again, that's away from my fingers. That's a good straight edge. I'll probably cut it off down here. I don't need it to be that big. I mean, it is what it is now. I really can't go in and do too much. I don't think I want that. Just a little closer. No, I think I'm good with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up and dip it in water. Normally I would do it in oil, but the water is just going to make it a lot more brittle. It's going to make it a lot tougher, which is what I want. I want this edge to be very brittle because it's going to be very hard, and unfortunately with hard you get brittle. So now we're heating the metal. Get this up here to show. Trying to get the striker in as hot as I can get it. And we're going to go ahead and dip that in. Just the edge of it. I don't want the whole thing dipped out. It's too brittle. I just want the striker part. If I can get the right temperature. Just going to hold it. We're going to dip it in water instead of oil. Normally I'm going to quench the blade. I just quench the blade in oil. It's going to be done in water because that's going to make this a lot harder. I think we're ready. I just want this edge in. Of course, I missed that whole thing. And of course, since I had the camera at the wrong angle, that's the problem with these things, unless you have some sort of a GoPro. So what I is this whole thing, this was real hot. This was hopefully up to the state where it was past magnetic, and then just this portion, just the edge of this portion was dipped in the water like that, just to harden that side, and then the rest of it will kind of cool on its own. And those are the tongs because the tongs are in there a pretty long time as well. So we'll clean this up, we'll give it the file test and see how it looks. Now we have the metal file on metal file. I mean, that just scrapes right off. But on the back, it shouldn't be. You can hear the difference. It's actually getting a bite back there. So this isn't as hard as what this is, and that's what I'm trying to go for. So this one I'll go as my main Flint Striker. We can back that up a little bit. You see sparks. I can't turn it into the dark. I saw enough, so I was happy with it. That gives my hand a little more protection. Alright, here's the final product. I'm going to, well, maybe not final product. I'm going to do a little bit of sanding, clean it up a little bit. I may paint this side. I'll probably paint the whole thing except for the edge. So this is going to be the replacement in my backpack if I ever need to start a fire out in the woods. I've gone through and I've made this edge a little rounder so that in case I would catch myself, these edges aren't as sharp, but really what you're looking for is a nice hard edge. And you know, from the number of times that I've scratched it, you can see like a couple little marks, but there's no indentations, which means that's going to be a good thing. And again, this is from a file, so this is from, you know, a little chunk of file like this that was beat down, maybe a little smaller, but beat down, and you know, you can see with the blacksmithing, you know, you're moving metal, but you're moving metal in the right direction. And I'll try to go back to the original picture that I wanted to modify this from. So there's a picture of what I was trying to make. I don't know that that's copyright. That's just you know, my interpretation of what someone else was doing. I mean, there's no copyright on any of that stuff. But You can see it looks pretty close. I'm happy with that.